People around us often expect us to wear masks just to be accepted, loved, and validated. But over time, that mask becomes heavy, an invisible prison that stops us from living authentically. Carl Jung believed that psychological suffering doesn't happen by chance. It comes from being disconnected from our true selves. Every time we deny our feelings, ignore our intuition, or stay stuck in energy-draining situations, we quietly hurt ourselves. But why do we do this? The answer lies in the unconscious mind. From childhood, we learn to link love and acceptance to meeting certain expectations. If at any point in your life you realize that being your true self led to rejection, criticism, or abandonment, then your unconscious mind received a dangerous message. To be accepted, I must erase myself. This belief sneaks into every part of your life, shaping your relationships, your decisions, and even how you value yourself. Maybe you felt trapped in a cycle of toxic relationships where you keep sacrificing your needs, hoping finally to be recognized and loved. But instead of genuine love, what you find is emotional exhaustion, frustration, and a growing emptiness inside. That's because true love can never grow where self-abandonment lives. Jung warned us about a vital psychological process called projection. Often, we look to others for what we deny or suppress within ourselves. If you're consistently drawn to people who don't value you, who are cold, distant, or even abusive, your unconscious might be trying to show you something you haven't wanted to see. You are not choosing yourself. The unconscious communicates through symbols. It doesn't shout or force. It whispers through the experiences we live. If you notice patterns repeating in your life, whether in relationships, missed opportunities, or self-esteem, understand that it's not bad luck or fate. It's a message your unconscious is trying to send. Something inside you needs to be healed, integrated, and understood. But how do you break this cycle? How do you stop hurting yourself and finally choose yourself? The first step is awareness. Jung said nothing changes until it becomes conscious. As long as you stay on autopilot, blaming others, you'll keep recreating the same painful experiences. But once you become aware of the patterns that trap you, you reclaim your power to choose. You might be thinking, if it were that easy, I would have changed already. And that's a natural reaction. Fear of change is one of the strongest forces in the human psyche. We cling to what's familiar, even when it hurts, because the unknown scares us. But it's exactly here that Jung's concept of individuation becomes essential. Individuation is the process of becoming truly yourself, free from outside expectations and unconscious projections. For this to happen, you must face what Jung called the shadow. The shadow holds all the parts of yourself you've pushed away or denied because they don't fit the image you want to show the world. The more you deny your shadow, the more it controls you. That's why so many people stay stuck in toxic relationships, jobs they hate, or lives that don't reflect who they really are. They're ruled by hidden parts of themselves. But here's the key. When you stop fighting your shadow and start integrating it, you set yourself free. Integrating the shadow means recognizing the parts of you that you hid out of fear of judgment. Maybe you learned to always be kind, agreeable, and helpful, even when it hurt you. Maybe you suppressed your anger, your authenticity, or your freedom to fit into a mold that was never yours. But all of that still lives inside you, waiting to be seen. When you begin to choose yourself, you will face resistance. People around you might feel uncomfortable because they were used to the version of you who always gave in, who put others first, even at your own expense. But here's what Jung taught us. There is no growth without discomfort. The unconscious works in symbols and patterns. If you've ever felt small, worthless, or invisible, maybe it's time to ask yourself, when did I learn I'm not enough? The answer may not come right away, but as you sincerely ask, you'll realize it started much earlier than you thought. Choosing yourself is an act of courage. It demands a deep commitment to truth and a willingness to lose everything that no longer resonates with your soul. It could mean ending relationships, changing careers, or even going through periods of loneliness. But this loneliness isn't empty. It's fertile that it's in that space where you rebuild your identity, not based on what others expect, but on what truly makes you come alive. Transformation begins when you stop asking, "What do others want from me?" and start asking, "What does my soul desire?" When you make this shift, everything around you starts to change. You become magnetic to what aligns with your truth. People who never valued you will drift away, and those who truly resonate with your being will begin to appear. The universe responds to authenticity, but to get there, you must let go of illusions. The illusion that being accepted by others matters more than accepting yourself, that if you try hard enough, you'll finally be loved, or that shaping yourself to fit expectations will bring happiness. Freedom starts the moment you realize you don't have to prove anything to anyone. You are already enough, exactly as you are. Jung teaches us that life isn't about chasing happiness outside, but about finding meaning and purpose inside. That meaning can only be found when we stop hurting ourselves and start living in alignment with our inner truth. So now I invite you to pause and ask, what are you holding on to in your life that no longer fits who you really are? What patterns keep repeating, leading you back to the same pain? What stories do you tell yourself to justify your fear of change? Answering these questions might be the first step toward the greatest transformation of your life. And remember, choosing yourself is not selfish. It's an act of self-love. When you start choosing yourself, something extraordinary happens. You realize you always had the power to shape your own reality. Carl Jung showed us that the outer world reflects our inner world. The people we meet, the challenges we face, they're all projections of our psyche. So if you're stuck in cycles of pain, rejection, or abandonment, it means there's something inside you waiting to be healed. Healing doesn't mean just thinking positively or ignoring tough feelings. True healing comes from facing what we avoid the most. It means looking inside and asking, what is this experience trying to teach me? If you find yourself in relationships where you feel constantly undervalued, maybe it's because, deep down, you haven't fully recognized your own worth. Jung said what we deny within doesn't disappear. It just shows up in other ways. If you ignore your need for self-love, that lack might appear in relationships that reinforce low self-esteem. If you suppress anger, it could surface as anxiety or even physical illness. If you avoid being alone, you might end up in shallow connections that only deepen the emptiness you feel. That's why choosing yourself is more than symbolic. It's a profound inner transformation. It means you're ready to break the patterns that have kept you trapped, even if that means facing the discomfort of change. Change takes courage. You might fear losing people around you, being misunderstood, or failing when trying something new. But here's one of Jung's greatest lessons. Fear is a guide. When you feel intense fear, it shows where your comfort zone ends and where your next step toward growth lies. Choosing yourself means facing that fear head-on. It means saying no to what weakens you, even if others don't like it. It means stopping the search for outside validation and starting to find strength within. It means walking away from relationships that don't honor your essence, even if it means temporary loneliness. Above all, it means stopping the cycle of self-harm. Often, we don't even realize we're hurting ourselves because we get used to pain. We settle for less than we deserve. We accept emotional crumbs. We get used to chaos because it feels familiar, but familiar doesn't mean right. Jung teaches us true transformation happens when we become aware of these patterns and decide to break free. This process isn't quick or easy. There will be moments of doubt, moments when you want to retreat to your old self because it feels safer. But this change only happens when you stop deceiving yourself, stop hiding behind excuses, and finally take responsibility for your life. Jung said, What you resist persists. Everything you try to avoid, deny, or suppress only grows stronger in your unconscious and shows up in toxic relationships, feelings of emptiness, and sudden emotional crises. But the truth is, nothing appears out of nowhere. Your unconscious is always communicating with you. The problem is, we often choose not to listen. So now I ask you, what inside you is begging to be heard? Maybe it's that sadness you try to ignore but returns whenever you're alone. Maybe it's the desire to change your life, which you smother with fear of the unknown. Maybe it's that intuition warning you when something's wrong, but you keep silencing it. Choosing yourself means hearing these inner voices and finally giving them the space they deserve. It means acknowledging you are more than the parts you show the world. You are also your doubts, your fears, your hidden desires, and all of that needs to be embraced, not denied. According to Jung, individuation is the process of integrating all parts of your being, both light and shadow, because only when you fully accept yourself can you live authentically. And living authentically is one of the bravest acts there is. It means no longer molding yourself to others' expectations. It means no longer settling for less than you deserve. It means you stop pretending to be someone you're not just to please. And not everyone will like this new you. Some people will drift away. Some relationships will end, because when you change, your world changes. But those who truly belong on your path will stay, because they weren't with you for who you pretended to be. They were with you for who you really are. And that is the greatest gift you can give yourself. The freedom to be you without fear, without guilt, without needing anyone's approval. So again, I ask you, are you ready for this freedom? Choosing yourself isn't a destination. It's an ongoing process that there's no moment you wake up and suddenly become your best self. Individuation, as Jung taught, is a never-ending journey, a constant uncovering of who you really are, a deeper dive into your most authentic self. On this journey, there will be days of doubt. There will be moments when you want to slip back into old patterns because they feel safer, more familiar. But the safety of conformity isn't freedom. It's an invisible prison. True freedom comes when you respect yourself, even when it's hard, when you walk away from harmful relationships, even when it hurts, when you say no to what doesn't resonate with your soul, even when everyone expects you to say yes. Because the only life truly worth living is the one that reflects who you really are. And when you make that choice, something magical happens. You become a magnet for what aligns with your essence. People see you differently. Opportunities arise. Your energy transforms. Because when you choose yourself, the universe responds. Now, I invite you to take that step. If this message touched your soul, if these words spoke directly to you, share this video. There are many still trapped in the cycle of pain, self-sabotage, and disconnection from their true selves. Together, we can spread this message and help more people awaken. Leave a comment below and tell me which part of this video resonated most with you. What decision do you feel you need to make to finally choose yourself? Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell to never miss new content. And, above all, remember, you have the power to change your life. The decision is yours. The time is now. And I'm here to remind you that you're never alone on this journey. See you in the next video. If this message resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Remember, choosing yourself is a journey we all deserve to take. And together, we can support each other in breaking free from old patterns and stepping into our true power. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell so you never miss a moment of this transformational journey. Your path to healing and self-discovery starts with one brave choice. And that choice begins right here, right now. Let's grow this community of courage and authenticity together. Share your thoughts below and join the conversation. Because when we choose ourselves, we change everything.